Pull up a chair because today I don't want to talk about a character. I want to talk about a system, a set of rules so powerful that almost nobody questions it. A system that shapes careers, relationships, reputations. It even shapes status, power, and even life changing decisions. And that is the Dayin Code. And the more I watched Pursuit of Jade, the more I realized something fascinating. The Dayin Code isn't powerful because people are forced to obey it. It's powerful because almost everyone believes they should. What makes the Dayin Code so interesting? Most dramas have villains. People, families, organizations. But one of the most fascinating things about Pursuit of Jade is that many of its conflicts don't begin with a villain. They begin with a system. The Dayin Code sits quietly in the background of almost every major decision. It's really the loudest thing in the room, yet it influences everything. Who gets opportunities? Who gets respect? Who gets punished? Who gets protected? Even who gets listened to? And you see, what fascinates me is that very few people stop and ask, should things actually work this way? Instead, most people simply accept that this is how the world works. Now, I would like to discuss the real power of the Dayin Code. To me, the Dayin Code isn't powerful because it can punish people. It's powerful because people have internalized it. Think about it. The strongest systems aren't enforced by gods, they're enforced by belief. People obey because they've been taught the system is legitimate. People obey because everyone around them obeys. People obey because questioning it feels almost unthinkable. And that's exactly what we see throughout Pursuit of Jade. Characters don't just follow the rules, they defend them, they justify them, they organize their entire lives around them, even when those rules don't always benefit them, which I find utterly fascinating. However, I also found everyone lives under it. One thing I love about the show is that the Dayin Code doesn't just affect ordinary people, it affects everyone. The merchants, the officials, the students, the families, soldiers, even powerful people. The difference isn't whether you are controlled by the system. The difference that I found is where you sit within the Dayin Code. Some people benefit, others struggle, but nobody is completely outside it. And that's what makes it feel real. Because the most influential systems in life rarely affect only one group, they affect everyone differently. And one detail that really stood out to me while watching Pursuit of Jade is the significance of surnames. Take Shunjun, for example. You notice how several people associated with him also bear the surname Shun. At first glance, it might seem like a small detail, but I think it tells us something important about the world of the story. In the Pursuit of Jade, identity is rarely about just individual. People belong to households, lineage, clans, power structures. A surname isn't simply a name. It's a position within a system. It's a signal of loyalty, responsibility, protection, and obligation. The short name carries weight because it represents something larger than a single person, almost like a house, an institution, or even a political structure. And what fascinates me is that people seem to understand this instinctively. No questioning it. Nobody stops to question why the name matters. Everyone already accepts that it does. Which brings us back to the Dayin Code. The most powerful systems don't need constant enforcement. People enforce them themselves because they've internalized the rules. The shared surname is one of the clearest examples of that principle in the series. It isn't just a family name, it's part of the architecture of power itself. And this is exactly why Fan Changyu stands out. Unlike many people around her, Fan Changyu doesn't derive authority from a powerful household. She doesn't have a famous lineage protecting her. She doesn't have an influential surname opening doors. Most of the respect she earns comes from competence, character, and action. And that's one of the reasons she's such an interesting counterpart to the world around her. What I love is that she doesn't spend her time making speeches against the system. She's not a revolutionary. She's not trying to burn everything down. But she constantly challenges expectations through her actions. She proves assumptions wrong. She earns respect where none was automatically given. And this is something I found really, really endearing about her. And in doing so, she quietly exposes the weaknesses in the system itself. If Fan Changyu challenges expectations, Changyu navigates them. One of the reasons he's such an interesting character is that he understands how power works. He understands status, he understands hierarchy, he understands influence, he understands reputation, and the unwritten rules that govern society. Because he understands the system, he can move through it more effectively than most people. The question isn't whether Changyu respects the Dayin Code. The question is whether he sees it as a tool, a necessity, or a prison. And I think that's one of the most interesting questions the series is asking. Why nobody questions it? And this is the part that stayed with me. Why doesn't anyone question it? Or at least, why don't more people question it? I think the answer is simple. Because the system existed before them. Most characters inherited the system. They didn't create it. They were born into it. They grew up within it. They learned how to survive within it. And eventually, many of them stopped seeing it as a choice. It simply became reality. And that's what happens with many systems in real life. The longer a rule exists, the more natural it appears, even when it isn't. I'd also like to draw the modern parallel for this. And this is where Pursuit of Jade becomes much more than an historical drama to me. Because if we're honest, we still live under systems today. Different systems, but nonetheless, they are systems. Professional hierarchies, social expectations, family obligations, class structures, cultural norms even. Many of these things influence our decisions every day, often without us even noticing. And that's why the Dayin Code feels relevant. Not because it belongs to ancient history, but because it reminds us how powerful invisible rules can be. The rules may change, the principles remain the same. Now, for me, what is the question at the heart of the story? In Pursuit of Jade, the question isn't asking, is the Dayin Code good? And it isn't asking, is the Dayin Code bad? It's asking something much more interesting. How do people live honorably inside a system they didn't create? How do they maintain their values? How do they challenge injustice? How do they navigate power? And what happens when duty and conscience collide? These questions are much bigger than any individual character, and that's why I think the Dayin Code is one of the most important ideas in the entire stories. The review room verdict on this: the Dayin Code may not be a character, but it influences almost every character. It shapes decisions, relationships, ambitions, and even destinies. Its greatest power isn't authority. Its greatest power is acceptance. Because once people stop questioning a system, that system becomes incredibly difficult to challenge. And that's why understanding the Dayin Code helps us understand Pursuit of Jade itself, not just as a story, but as an exploration of power, duty, and the invisible rules that shapes human behavior. The room has spoken.